Welcome to Salute to the Ears, where my family and I discuss everything Disney, from parks, food, and rides to travel tips, movies, and more. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Salute to the Ears, and it is time to finally talk anniversary. The anniversary at Walt Disney World has kicked off, and Erica is here with me, and we're going to kind of talk about some of the things that happened, some of the things we saw, give some of our reviews of some of the craziness.
Yeah, we actually were stuck here at home this last week and this weekend, which was some serious FOMO, some serious jealousy of all of our favorite people being there. There is a lot to talk about in regards to the world's most magical celebration, Disney World's 50th anniversary celebration. And I struggled to keep up. I was trying to keep up on Friday with what was happening and what was going on and get on Instagram and talk about stuff. And it was so much.
It was a lot. And it seemed like a lot of it was came out like Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday came in. It was just everybody trying to catch up on everything and enjoy it and show pictures and do all the craziness.
Yeah, I mean, there's a part of me that's really jealous of everybody being down there. And at the same time, there are parts of it that I am not jealous about. And I'm glad we didn't experience. We've talked about this a little bit before, but like I have anxiety. I have an anxiety disorder. And like the crowds that were there Thursday, like just all week leading up, it was busier. And then
it started picking up. Yeah.
And then, as people were coming in town, getting ready to be there for the 50th, most people didn't start their vacation on Friday. If they were coming down.
Right. It definitely picked up on Friday, though.
Particularly in Magic Kingdom. And it started early. Like, parking lots were open like 3.5 hours before the gates. At like 4 a.m. or something.
Right. I don't know that people went home because they debuted Enchantment the night before.
Yeah, but the night before I thought was just
it was just media event.
Preview.
Yeah.
So I mean there were a few of our favorite vloggers and news sites that were there as part of media, but beyond that that was a small crowd.
Right.
Thursday. So I'm sure some of them probably really didn't leave.
Yeah. No, it was because they were there early. I know seeing some of them come in on the monorail first thing in the morning and looking out the window, and it's still like 2.5 hours before gates are supposed to open and there's nowhere to stand.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would want to be.
I don't think I would have wanted to have dealt with that.
Right.
There's no way that I could have handled that kind of crowd right now.
Right.
However, the other parks did not necessarily. I mean, Epcot did a little bit. Epcot drew some people, but again, Epcot didn't open at 6 a.m.
No, it didn't. It was later in the afternoon.
It was later, like usual. And so once it opened, it drew some people away from Magic Kingdom that had already been there for a while. And you had people at all the parks wanting to get merchandise.
Right.
That was a huge draw for everybody coming in first thing in the morning.
Right. I think, like, looking throughout the day, the lines, like, there were all kinds of people at Magic Kingdom. Like, it was lots of people.
It was capacity.
And
whatever that number is right now.
But the lines for the rides weren't long.
No.
Everybody was in lines for food and for merch.
Yeah.
At one time, you had to go virtual queue to get into the Emporium. Mm-hmm. It was 6 hours out.
No way.
Yeah.
Like, I saw it when it was a couple hours out, but I never...
Right, yeah. At one point, yeah. And if you were one of the first ones to get in there, you better have, like, had some, like...
serious cash to drop?
Cash to drop, mixed martial arts training, because people were throwing hands, people were pushing, shoving, yelling, screaming, not being very kind.
I did see a handful of posts about a cry of, please be nice to the other people, the other guests that are there, and to the cast members.
Right.
Because they are not, none of them are in charge of how much merchandise they have out on the floor, or the fact that they are sold out of it, or the fact that you just had to wait in line for 3 hours, or anything like that. Like, nobody told you had to.
And a lot of those cast members are new.
Yeah.
Like, talking within a couple months.
Yeah.
New. Haven't had to deal with anything even remotely close to this.
Yeah. I do think they did a poor job of managing traffic in the Emporium, especially early in the day. I do not think they anticipated the stampede of wanting that merchandise. I think that was somewhat of a mistake on Disney's part of releasing the merchandise the way that they did within in the timeline that they like of not releasing it also online and making it park exclusive and
and I think there was like they did a bad job of informing people that not all the merch was just going to be in that one spot. Like it wasn't just in the Emporium. Like you could go over to where it was the theater and then it was the confectionery for a little bit because the new one's open now. And now it's the Vault. It has the Vault collection over there. And then you go back to Big Top Circus, and they have a collection back there. Like, you can find different collections throughout the park.
Right, but they're different collections.
They're different collections.
You know, and there was stuff that was specific to day one.
Right. But I think people were expecting to go into the Emporium and find everything. And it was a very specific collection that they were going to get there as well. Like, there may have been a little bit more there, but there were spots throughout the parks, and specifically throughout Magic Kingdom. But you can go over to Epcot and the new creations. They got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I do think that the crowds were a little obnoxious.
Yeah.
I think that there were people there for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Which is really hard for those of us who really love Disney for what I will call quote unquote all the right reasons. We just love it, and we love the people, and we love the cast members, and we have a really, really heavy respect for what everybody puts into it in order for us to have such an enjoyable time there. And because we have such a healthy respect for that, we go out of our way to be respectful to other guests and to cast members particularly. And especially those ones who are working some of those, like, you know, jobs like...
Inside the Emporium.
On the craziest day of the year. Like, that is definitely something they will be talking about forever. Of like, yeah, I worked Magic Kingdom on the 50th anniversary. And, you know, someday we're all going to look back and be like, oh my gosh, you're our hero. Because it was just insane. I mean, and it's just weird to me what people were interested in doing and having being there on the 50th anniversary. How so few people, like you said, weren't nobody was riding rides. Everybody went for merchandise. Everybody went for food, even though all of the food that was going to be available is going to continue to be available. There wasn't anything that was like only going to be out there on Friday on the 1st. And so the fact that people were just so obsessive over merch, tells me that a lot of them are going to resell it, which is infuriating.
There was some that was very specific to that day. That's the stuff that was gone, like,
it was
pretty
gone
quick.
Yeah, I mean, it was gone in the first handful of people that were in the stores.
They tried to limit it, and I think that's what people were fighting over. Like, really, like, that's why people started throwing hands and shoving and being nasty. And everybody who makes fun of, like, Disney adults, that's the reason why. Yeah. They did not, like, reinforce any of the good parts with the way that they were acting.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
It was ridiculous.
I do think, though, that Disney did not anticipate that aspect of it well. They did not anticipate they were expecting people like us and like the vloggers that we follow and like the news sites that like the people that genuinely want to be there. That's who they were expecting to show up in droves, They were not, I don't think they anticipated fully how much of the people there was going to be resellers and people who just wanted to be able to be like, I got it. Like, versus genuinely, like, being satisfied whether they got it or not by being there on the 50th.
I understand like having your own collection, like Disney collection and stuff. That was a long time to wait for popcorn buckets.
Yeah.
People were waiting, and the longest lines of the day were for popcorn buckets.
And those popcorn buckets are going to be there. At least those ones are going to be there for weeks.
It's the Mickey Air balloons. It says 50th anniversary on it.
Yeah. Those are at least going to be around for quite a while.
Right. So, I don't know. I understand like wanting to be there to take in the magic of that day and be some of the first to see some of the new stuff.
That's where my FOMO came in, was that side of it.
Right. Standing there in like the crowd that rushed the stage.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning, like as they're getting ready to do rope drop, and you see all the cast members going walk slow, walk slow, walk slow, and then a few people took off running, and then they were just basically sitting there like stand up, curled up in a ball, trying not to get ran over.
It's not right. I mean, like, if you can't respect the safety rules and stuff that they are putting in place, again, to keep people safe. Like, this is not about, like, you not getting your merchandise or you not getting to see the show or anything like that. If you are so hell-bent on being the first one up there or the first person to get it or, you know, whatever, like, check yourself before you wreck yourself, man. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, that is not what this is about. And so, like, as you can tell, we're frustrated by that aspect of it. And, you know, we never want to see cast members be put in a situation where their safety is at risk because other guests are being so disrespectful. Right.
It's not only their safety. Like, I can't even imagine, like, having kids there.
I would have, I mean, if we had the kids there, I mean, even though, like, you know, our oldest is 6'2", like, it's not like he's easy to lose in a crowd right now, but I would have been having a full-blown panic attack in that. Like, I absolutely would have lost my ish 100%.
Like, Sergeant Simon voice probably would have came out at some point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have no doubt. Let's move on to something way more fun, because I also want to talk about all of the amazing food that has dropped for the 50th.
Yeah.
Now, on this note, we had a lot of items that we knew were coming.
Right.
There's a bunch of stuff that, like, we knew was coming. Not all of it was, like, a surprise.
Right. This is one of those things that they really kind of dropped Thursday and said, hey, here's these 150 plus items that are coming out. Now, buckle up, because we're going to sit here and go through all 150.
No, we're not.
Okay. Maybe not.
We're not going through all 150. First of all, because I would be sitting here drooling. And second of all, because that would take forever. Okay. Very first and foremost on our list, we made kind of a quick list of, like, things we are excited about in particular for the 50th.
Right.
And the very first one is Uncle Orville's Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow Sundae.
Okay. So this is nothing spectacular about this sundae, other than the fact it's in a big bathtub like Uncle Orville.
It looks like an antique bathtub, and you're really the thing that, like you said, it's just a sundae. There's nothing super magical about it.
Nope. It's chocolate and vanilla, soft serve swirl with brownie bits, hot fudge, whipped cream, and sprinkles.
Yeah. So there's nothing, like, crazy about this. You could get a similar sundae in other places with the same type of ingredients, but it comes in this bathtub. Right. And so the bathtub is really what people are... That's what you're paying for with this. You're not really paying... I mean, you're paying for the sundae, but, like, ultimately you're paying for the bathtub. Right. It's cute. It's a cute piece. I think if you really, really love Carousel of Progress, that you are going to like it. You're really going to like this one.
Now, one thing I will say about this, if you look online, it has it for, like, $27. If you go there, it's still expensive. It's not $27.
Yeah.
It's $17. So the price online with your My Disney Experience app and the price, like, actually going there and ordering it is different.
So if you order on the app, you're getting charged more, or it's just incorrect?
I don't know.
I wonder if it's just incorrect.
I'm guessing it's
app.
just incorrect, because if you showed up and go, hey, I just paid $27 and it says 17 there, they're going to have to give it to you for 17.
Yeah, I have a feeling that was probably just an incorrect on the app. Okay, this one I refuse to talk about because I cannot I cannot process it. You're going to have to handle this.
All right. So I like a good hot dog, especially like a chili cheese dog, and I really want to go to Casey's. This one is the 50th celebration hot dog. Okay, now this is unlike
Like, that would be fine if you gave me like 50th celebration hot dog. Even if you put some of that like iridescent glitter stuff on a Casey's hot dog, I would be okay with that. I am not okay with what you are about to describe.
So it starts off with a strawberry bacon jam. Okay, whatever. No.
Mm-mm.
Okay, and that is topped with funnel cake bits and powdered sugar on top of a regular all beef hot dog.
What did a Casey's hot dog ever do to you to deserve to be mutilated like that?
Like, it sounds awful. I've seen multiple people now who have tried it, just to say that they have tried it because it's one of the crazier 50th items, and they've all said it actually works. They said it's different. It's very different, but it works.
And don't get me wrong, I am for a like sweet and savory mixed together. Like
Right.
that's not the part that I'm opposed to. I just cannot reconcile in my brain funnel cake and hot dogs. Like I cannot
But you
do
have
it.
the strawberry bacon jam as well.
I like I
No.
don't have words. Like that one makes a little more sense to me in terms of like, because you do like a good breakfast
Right.
sausage, and if you get like, you've got some jam on your plate and it gets on there and it's not bad. Like I get that one.
Right.
The funnel cake part, like it's too much to me. I can't handle it. If you have tried this and you have thoughts, either you're on Team Erica or Team Jeremy on this, like write it down in the comments, like send us a message,
Yeah.
because I am genuinely interested to see who likes
would
this
try
hot
it.
dog.
I would try it. And I'm usually not the adventurous eater between
No.
us. I would try it just because I like hot dogs. Like, there's everything on there that I like.
Like
But
individually,
it
all of those
sounds
things are
odd.
fine.
At least it's not the peanut butter one they had over at
gosh.
Disney Springs earlier this year.
Oh my gosh, no.
No one said anything good about that one.
No, we're not talking about that on here. We're not talking about that on here. Okay, moving on, because I'm gonna end up throwing up. I am super excited about this. Now, I ended up seeing it. I'm pretty sure AJ shared it on DFB, and it is the Snow White Lemon Dole Whip cone. It's over in Storybook, and I love Dole Whip. Like, Dole Whip is my jam. If I could just have that as a snack the whole time that we were at Disney World, I would be perfectly satisfied. But I particularly like lemon Dole Whip.
Yeah. No, it sounds good. It'll be, I think, a little bit lighter, which is weird because Dole Whip's already
Dole
pretty
Whip's already
light.
pretty light. But there are people who don't love the stronger pineapple flavor
Right.
in an original Dole Whip. And so when you have it mixed with one of those other flavors, like lemon, it just kind of cuts, like you'd be like, oh, well, those are both very acidic. Like, how does that cut the acidity? It just does. Don't ask. So this has a blue cone for Snow White, and it's got some other little candy pieces and cookie pieces that like represent different things for Snow White. It's really, really cute. I'll try to throw a picture of it up on Instagram. But
it's not the fanciest.
no,
treat
it's
there.
just we've had several other cones like this, right? Where they represent a character, and they usually have just a slightly off flavor of Dole Whip, either like lime or green apple or like lemon, or something that like just represents whatever color they are. And they've been pretty simple, but I really like Snow White. I mean, come on, like OG princess.
Right.
I'm really glad that they incorporated that one for this.
Yeah. No, it looks tasty. It looks light. But we are going to go fancy on the next one. This is actually over at Disney Springs, over at Emirates. And it's the 50th celebration cake. And this thing is so fancy.
It looks like a geode rock, right?
Right, yeah.
Like a gem, like...
Right. It looks like Brooklyn, we talked about this last time, the Snow White gems.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like it has some of those on there. It's like purple.
It's like a geode, like a crystal. Like,
Right.
I mean, it's got like the crystal rocks in
Yeah.
it, and it's purple on the outside, but the cake inside is lemon blueberry.
Yes. I love the lemon blueberry pancakes that we got.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this tastes
like in that realm.
Right.
Yeah.
And this isn't like a great big huge giant cake. This is one of those small little petite cakes.
Mm-hmm. No, but it's very, very pretty. It's definitely one I would have a hard time cutting into.
Probably, but then I'd remember that it's aluminum blueberry and I'd go for it.
Okay, so we've talked about food, good and bad. If you have a favorite treat from 50th, let us know in the comments. Tag us on Instagram or on Twitter if you've tried it. We are really excited to hear about all the other things that we should be looking at in preparation for our next trip.
Right. I think I'm more jealous about missing out on the treats than I am on the merch.
Oh, yeah.
Far.
Well, I mean, we are not huge merch people to begin with. We're pretty picky about where we spend our money on merchandise because we live in Kansas City. Nobody, we don't get all the opportunities to wear it, as regularly as somebody who's going to the park super often. Right. And so there's less opportunity there with merch. So for us, I'd rather spend money on really good food that I get to really enjoy than a piece of merchandise, especially like an $80 Spirit jersey that I'm only going to get to wear a handful of times.
Right. Yep. So one of the other things that came out this day, no parades as of yet.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in that one.
I know. So, but we do have a new cavalcade, which is actually a bigger cavalcade.
It's basically a parade.
It's a little mini parade. Because it's like 2 floats, bunch of dancers, Mickey, Minnie, all the pals.
It's a parade.
Yeah, it's a little mini parade. They're in their 50th anniversary suits, dresses.
I love their new 50th outfits. Right. I really, really love the colors.
I didn't know if I would, but it's grown on me.
I liked it when they first came out. I thought it represented all the other stuff that they've put out. I really, really like them. I saw the funniest photo today. I think it was on WDW Radio Clubhouse. And somebody caught Daisy, leaned back, being all dramatic in her outfit. I was like, oh, no, there's somebody. Fantastic.
Daisy has been owning it. I've seen multiple vlogs where she's just been, full of sass and...
Somebody is friends with Daisy and is giving her some awesomeness right now during these new cavalcades. Really, really cool. I'm really impressed with how they have managed to bring the magic of a parade in a short form.
Right. Everybody still wants to be able to go do meet and greets, but they're doing these enough to where at least you're getting a chance to see those characters. Because not everybody wants to wait in a line an hour and a half to go see Mickey.
No, and I have actually seen a couple reels where they stand in strategic spots, and so the parent is doing video on their phone, and what I'm assuming that she's doing, because I saw her daughters turn around, they're basically at the end of Main Street where the parade ends, and goes over towards the firehouse.
Right.
And she's standing there and the girls are waving to characters, and then they flip around and pose. She's still doing video. And so they flip around and pose, and you get this shot of them. You'll be able to pull a still from that video of them posed with the character behind them. And I was like, that is a great idea of being able to get some of those quote unquote posed shots with a character when they're not necessarily out, and about that day.
Right. No, it is a good way. And that's really about the only daytime show we have right now. I think there's going to be stuff that's going to be added as we go.
We know there's going to be stuff that's going to be added. Disney's already come out and said that they're going to add more stuff as the 50th progresses. And I think especially once we get past Boo Bash and Very Merriest, I think once we get past these parties and stuff of extra opportunity of characters, we will see more things come out that are 50th specific as far as shows and as far as characters.
Now, they did do a show right at the beginning at Rope Drop. They were out there dancing and singing. It was just a couple minutes long, but it was choreographed. They all knew what they were doing. They've been practicing it. I don't know if it was just going to be for that, or if that's going to be something that's going to be incorporated into another show at some other
that's
point.
just like a piece of what the
Right.
longer show will be.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we did the rededication the night before, so we're going to do this show this morning.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wonder if that show would have been part of or the prequel to the rededication.
Maybe.
If they had ended up in the rededication.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, Thursday night during the live viewing of Disney Enchantment, the media viewing of Disney Enchantment, Bob Chapek and Bob Iger got on stage and talked about their favorite memories of the parks from when they were younger and all of this. And they went ahead and did the rededication of Walt Disney World on Thursday night, September 30th, rather than doing it in the park on October 1st. And this was kind of controversial. Everybody was like, what
Why?
in the heck? Like, why are we doing this the night before? And I had the thought of like, oh, well, maybe they're going to incorporate that into the ABC special that's going to be on Friday night. So they need to go ahead and have it recorded. No. Doesn't sound like that's the reason.
No. There is a lot of stuff floating around that Bob Chapek is not real popular at this point, and they were afraid that on October 1st, which is already very Disney fan heavy, like more than just your casual park goer.
Right.
That there was going to be a lot of booing and screaming.
So whether they did it because they needed to have it recorded at night versus having it recorded during the day, whether it was about people booing Chapek or having, an opinion either way about either Bob up there, we don't know. There's no definitive. Disney has not given a definitive answer one way or the other of why they chose to move it to Thursday night, other than showing Disney Enchantment was really the kickoff of the 50th celebration.
Right. It really was. And like Chapek was running around that morning on Good Morning America. He was doing other interviews, so people still could have stood behind him and booed and done all that kind of stuff if they really wanted.
We really didn't see any of that.
Right. But yeah, Disney Enchantment.
Well, they got in front of the castle, and we were talking about the stage show in front of the castle. I hope they do bring back more stage shows. That was probably one of the more disappointing entertainment aspects for me as far as the 50th is the fact that they did not bring back really that little 10-minute live show.
Right.
2 or 3 times a day. Like even just having one good show of the princess is coming out and
Right. It's like before COVID, there was a couple shows going on. Like we're to the point now to where I don't know if they're like afraid people are going to be standing on the streets and it's going to interfere with cavalcades or.
The cavalcades are pretty timed.
Yeah.
They don't really come at like completely random times anymore.
I don't know. Like they just redid the whole stage, so they're going to use the stage at some point for something. You'd think it would be for a show, but like you said, they were out there that night. They had Christina Aguilera get out there and sing to kind of get things kicked off. But one of the very first things they did was the Beacons of Magic. I
am obsessed with these like Beacons of Magic and how
they're mesmerizing.
They are absolutely mesmerizing, and all 4 parks have something that is lit up as their beacon of magic, right?
It's their icon.
It's their icon, and so of course, obviously, Ball at Epcot, Spaceship Earth, like it is lit up. It has all those new LED lights, which are amazing.
And it just isn't like it's not just like one color sitting there. It's like swirling around. It looks like the planet. You got all kinds of different shapes.
It's incredible. And then at Hollywood Studios, you have Tower of Terror.
And if you look up on the very tip top of it, and this is like iridescent, then you go up at the very tip top. It's like the Tip Top Club or Penthouse Club or something up there, and you can see people like ballroom dancing. Yeah,
so if you're looking from Sunset Boulevard and you're looking at Tower of Terror, kind of, it would be at the top right of the tower.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, the Tree of Life in Animal Kingdom. I was a little worried about how that one was going to play out as far as the projections for the Beacons of Magic and all that, and they nailed it.
It's so good. It's so good. I think they just need to put out that it's not a show.
Yeah.
Just like people are gathering around and they have a little
I mean, it's like a 30-second. It's a 30-second
right,
show.
and then it like comes on, and then people are standing around going, "Was that it?"
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that was it. There's no nighttime show. They can't do the fireworks at Animal Kingdom.
No, I mean, especially not Animal Kingdom, but yeah, there is a little like just it's the lighting of it, and that's it. Like that's
Right.
and you know it is hard though because you do have to be careful there with how they do lighting and
Mm-hmm.
what colors they use and what time they use them and all of that
Right.
because it can disrupt the animals that are there. And they've even talked about that as far as extending the safaris into later in the evening about how that can disrupt animals, you know.
Yeah, and like their feeding and their sleep cycles and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And so they've been really, really cautious of that. So I was really worried about was it going to be bright enough to really show up on the tree and make it like light up, and it absolutely does. I I know it's the tree of life, but it really does make it like it brings it to life.
Right.
I really, really enjoyed it.
No, that was a really good one. And then, of course, you have Cinderella's castle,
Yes.
which goes completely dark,
Mm-hmm.
and then it looks like almost like pixie dust going up it, and it gets up to the ribbons
Yes.
on the roof, and those twinkle. And then it all just kind of starts getting outlined in gold, and it comes to life. It's really fantastic.
It is absolutely, absolutely beautiful. There is currently complimentary media. If you have the My Disney Experience app, there is currently complimentary media in the My Disney Experience app. It is only available for you to view and download for 45 days from the date it's added. So right now, they actually have as both a desktop background and a mobile wallpaper background, an image of all four of those icons of
Right.
the Tree of Life, of Cinderella's Castle, of Tower of Terror, and of Spaceship Earth Ball. Like all four, you have a wallpaper that you can download for either your computer or your phone of each of those, and they are stunning.
Right.
I am obsessed. I made them my lock screen, and so every time I open my phone, there's a different like it cycles through all four of them, and it
Yeah.
every time I'm like, wow, it's so pretty.
Right. There's so many great pictures coming out this week. It's been fantastic. But that brings us to something else that I think was really pretty, and that's the new show over in Epcot and Harmonious.
I was worried.
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised.
Right. Now, I will say this about Harmonious and Enchantment. We've both talked about it. Don't know if it's because when they showed it on Disney Parks blog, if it was because it was live or what, but the cameras did not do it any justice. The angles they chose.
The cameras didn't do it justice, and particularly with Disney Enchantment.
Right.
The sound and the images were not in sync.
Right.
So you were hearing, like we've had before on other viewings of, when the Disney Parks version of Happily Ever After, premiered last year during COVID, and they put it out, and you're only hearing like the music feed. You're not hearing like the crowd necessarily. Like you're not hearing it as somebody standing in Magic Kingdom watching it. You're hearing it like you're hearing the feed that's going to the same feed that's going to the speakers.
Yeah, you're not getting the oohs and the ahs.
Right, you're not getting the oohs and the ahs. You're not getting the fireworks sounds.
Right.
And it does change how you perceive it.
I think back with Harmonious, like I've seen enough other angles now where people were like level, like you just be watching it, like your regular POV, and if you are in the right spot where you can actually see the Stargate, you're like not to the side of the big circle there in the middle, and you can see everything that's going on. It's beautiful. Like you got bright colors. They kind of tried to do the music, tried to put a little twist on
a more international twist on all the songs.
Tried to get it more culturally accurate, I guess.
Yeah, they're putting them in their own language for where, it's culturally appropriate.
Right.
Some of those songs are absolutely stunning.
Right.
In those, I don't want to say natural languages. I don't know what the right word is for that, but I hope you hear my heart on, what I mean by it, that they really are very, very beautiful. I was blown away by the imagery on the Stargate in the center.
Right.
I really was, the way that it's projected on the water. I know we've seen that before in Phantasmic,
Right.
you know, the projections on the water mist. And so that's not necessarily a new technology for Disney, but it is stunning.
Right. The colors were very vivid, very bright.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a fireworks show. Like, and they said it was going to be a nighttime show.
Yeah, that is one thing to remember, is that both of these are listed as nighttime spectaculars. They are not listed as a fireworks show. They are a nighttime spectacular that includes fireworks.
Yep. This one, like, no matter what social media says, the world is not ending when it comes to Disney and these shows. Like,
no, absolutely
if you
not.
look at, especially Diz Twitter has just been super negative about it. Like, I'm pretty sure that's like where negative Disney people just go to hang out at this point. It's been really bad for like this last week. There are a lot of good things. There are things that they weren't able to do because of budget, because they did take a hit for 5 or 4 quarters.
Yeah, I mean, we sometimes forget. I think, you know, Disney was one of the first major things to open back up, you know, even in the limited capacity that they did. And I think they've been going so strong now for long enough that I think we have kind of forgotten that, you know, in some ways that they did take such a big hit, and that they are just coming back up to snuff on staff, and that they, you know, this is different. This is new. I loved Harmonious, even on the Disney Parks feed of it. I was really impressed by it. My only complaint was with the fountains. I really thought that we weren't going to see as much of the like jet stream of water coming out of the structure, and I feel like you see too much of that up close.
Yeah. See, when I've watched like the POV versions of it, it doesn't bother me as much.
Okay.
Like,
I haven't watched as many of those as you have, and that was really hard for me on the live feed version of it, of seeing. I felt like all I could focus on was like these octopus arms coming out of the octopus arms that are on the tacos, that like, I couldn't draw my eye away from that. Or my eye kept getting drawn back to it, really is a better term, but that one was hard.
Yeah.
Enchantment.
Yeah.
I want to see both of them live in person.
Right.
But I feel better about Harmonious without seeing it live in person than I do about Enchantment.
I think the part Enchantment had such a happily ever after just ended last week.
Yeah.
For no other word, I don't have another word. Like, people are still kind of grieving that. Like,
that's absolutely what it is.
Other word for it, because so many people like became connected to that show. When that show first came out, people hated it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's full of technology. It's nothing but IP. A lot of the same stuff that we're hearing now.
Yeah.
We heard then. Where's the story? Like, it's just a bunch of IP. It's just a bunch of songs ran together.
Does have a story. It was beautiful. I am one of those people. I loved Happily Ever After. I loved the mix of music. I loved the mix of music to projections. I feel like we lost something in the projections with this. Yes, we gained projections onto Main Street, and they're awesome. I love the Main Street projections. Nothing against them. The ones on the castle, I feel like there's one section of it where the projections are amazing, and I really, really love them. And then there's a whole long section in there where really the only place you see a character or something happening is this little tiny circle in the middle of the castle that's blocked by 2 of the turrets, depending on where you're standing.
I saw a different view of it today that was getting closer to the castle, and there's actually a lot of different stuff going on.
Okay, we just can't see it from that, like...
Right. And I think part of the reason why we kind of knew what was going on before was when that character was up on the castle, they were playing their music.
Right.
They're not necessarily playing the music that goes with that character now. It may go along with what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And if you like really think about it, it would still fit that character. But if you don't know what you're necessarily looking for, you may not get it, especially if it's fast, because it's not a smooth surface.
This one feels faster in that this like the flipping of characters, especially in some of those musical sequences. And I love Angela Bassett being the narrator. I absolutely I wanted to just cry my eyes out when she started speaking. She so beautiful. I loved that part. It's definitely, I want to see it in person. I think that I will enjoy it. But you're absolutely right. For those of us who Happily Ever After was, I've talked about this before. Happily Ever After for me was healing. There was a lot that, we experienced, and seeing Happily Ever After, and really Wishes too. I mean, there was some overlap of stuff from Wishes into Happily Ever After as far as like music and, that we experienced and just loved so much. There wasn't a break. The break that we had for all of this was during COVID when there wasn't anything. Right?
Yep.
Like, I kind of almost wish they hadn't brought Happily Ever After back. I kind of almost wish that, just for the fact that I think it would have set this up better. Instead, we have a very recent comparison of Happily Ever After to Disney Enchantment that does not feel...
Yeah, it could have been the case, but I mean, Illuminations has been gone for a really long time, and people are still trying to compare Harmonious to Illuminations, and they're vastly different.
I will say, the thing I brought up when we watched them Wednesday night and Thursday night leading up, going from watching Harmonious on Wednesday night to watching Disney Enchantment on Thursday night, I felt like there was a lot of repetitive songs and IP. That was hard for me.
Lots of Moana.
Lots of Mulan.
Which we like
Moana. I love Moana. I'm not against, and even the Frozen stuff. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm totally for it. It's not that we are against it. It just felt like it felt like it was a twist on...
If I could have added one thing to Enchantment, let's add Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, all the palace in there somewhere. This is the 50th.
But this show will last beyond the 50th. That's the thing that we keep forgetting. This is not a 50th show.
It's not a show for the 50th. It's a show that just happened to get released on the 50th.
Right. So this, while it coincides with the 50th anniversary, it is not exclusive to the 50th anniversary. So this show is set to run after the 50th anniversary celebration ends in 23. And it'll be interesting to me to see how it does over the next 18 months and whether that ends sooner and they rework it or what, or change it or whatnot. But I think you're absolutely right in that they would have maybe been better off incorporating them more so. I mean, come on, the castle itself got his own little, cameo in Happily Ever After, for crying out loud.
Yeah. I will say the projections on Main Street I like.
Oh yeah, I love those.
If you're back on Main Street now, you're gonna feel like you're part of the show.
Because you are.
Yeah, I love those. There's things about it I really really like. I wish Mickey and the Palace were in it, and I wish there was that one piece that kind of tugs on the heartstrings. I feel like we're kind of missing that. But it could also be because we don't necessarily have the connection to these movies as we did the ones before, because those are really the ones Brooklyn grew up with.
So you've talked about this, and I think you talked about this with Brooklyn. Did you not?
What?
About the difference in the connection piece. Have you talked about this already?
I don't know.
So we were talking recently about this, and especially after everybody was complaining after Disney Enchantment aired on Thursday night. The songs and the IP and the IP, anybody going, stop talking in acronyms, intellectual property. Okay. So the Disney characters, right? Those that were in Happily Ever After were very relevant to us because they are the shows, movies, and characters that our kids grew up with, particularly our daughter, as far as age-wise. And she was really little, right?
Right.
When, she was little when Brave came out, and Rapunzel, and
Right. Even Pirates.
Pirates, and I mean, like, there were so many aspects of that were just relevant to our kids' childhood, and getting to see the magic through their eyes and their experience with it, right? So now, when you have this new IP, you have this newer stuff. So Moana, Frozen, you have this newer stuff, the live action stuff, like live action Mulan. You're stretching into this new generation of kids, right? This new 2 to 10-year-olds that, that was us before.
Right.
And now you have that new set of kids that have experienced that in a totally different way than ours did. And yeah, they still like, Rapunzel, and they still like, other things that our kids did too.
Right.
But
these are the movies they're watching.
This is the stuff that's theirs.
This is the group they're trying to get. They're trying to get new families in to keep coming back to the parks. Like, they already got us.
Yeah. They already hooked us.
So, and if you're listening to this, they probably already hooked you too. So they're trying to get new families in there, and these are the movies they're watching. A lot of Moana, Frozen 2, Raya was up there.
I really did. I liked that they incorporated that one too. We've really enjoyed some of the newer stuff, and so I'm not necessarily complaining about that part. Again, we need to see it in person and live. The video versus the sound feed was completely off on Thursday night, and it really screwed up the feeling.
Yeah, I've already seen people who said seeing it live is way better than seeing a live stream of it. That the colors are brighter, more vivid. You can tell what's going on. You feel a part of it. And it's a lot better when you're there. So I'm looking forward to that. That's something new. And then we got something new going on with this as well.
Yeah. So as we wrap this up, we want to talk about what we're going to try to start doing here over the next month or so, next couple of months heading into Christmas. And we're going to start doing some interviews.
Right.
So speaking of those new families, I've got some friends that recently went to the parks, like here in the last 2 weeks. First time.
Yeah.
First time at Walt Disney World, and had the best time. Absolute magic moments. Like the stuff that I was in tears reading some of the stuff that my friend was talking to me about that they experienced and that her kids experienced. And it made my heart swell, and I was like, this is why we love it. And so we're really, really excited to be able to talk with some of our friends who have been down there recently, talk to some other podcasters, and just try to expand what other voices we're bringing in here besides just our family.
Our opinion, we realize, isn't the only opinion.
Oh yeah.
Everyone has different magical things that they like about Disney.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it awesome, for no other word. Yeah. It's, I guess, my word.
We like being able to break this stuff down with you guys and being able to share our hearts on it and what we like and don't like and why we like it or don't like it, because we hope that helps you as you are experiencing it.
Right. Helps you plan your trip better. If you already have things you like, if you've been down there for the 50th already and come across great snacks, hit us up on Twitter and Instagram. Salute to the Ears, both of them.
Yep, super easy.
Super easy. Hit us up with what you like. Maybe things you didn't like. Maybe the hot dog was the greatest thing you've ever had. And follow us there. Please share it with your friends. Help us grow this thing. And please go out, find your joy,
and have a magical week.